Hello everyone, and welcome to Mudlet Creek Garage. And if you're new around here, behind me is my 1998 Honda Ford Trax 300. It's got a few things done to it. 333 big bore kit, snorkel, 28-inch OG Outlaws, Polaris front differential, 54% gear reduction, 88 cam, 4-inch lift, 6-inch stretch. Sure, I'm forgetting something, but the works for a semi-stock 300. And today, we're going to show you what I have found to be the easiest way to snorkel this machine for my riding style. So let me show you what we're going to need. So to snorkel the bike, you're going to need a few materials. Your first is going to be a 5-foot section of 1.5" spa hose. Now, this is going to be very important here. If your bike has a stock airbox, you are going to want to get the kind with the hard plastic end, kind of like a piece of PVC. And then you're also going to need a 1.5" female to 1.25" male. That's going to allow you to adapt into your airbox and use the stock rubber boot. Now my bike's got the Chaos Off-Road metal airbox, so I just need to have the flexi because I put a little bit of grease in here and tighten that down with a hose clamp. Also, you're going to need a 1.5" to 1.5" rubber coupler for your PVC. You're gonna need a 20-inch section of PVC, 1.5". That's already on the bike, so we're gonna see that here in a second. And a 90-degree elbow for that PVC. Other things you're gonna need is going to be your vent line. It is 7/32 that runs throughout the entire machine, give an exception to the crankcase, which you're going to want to tap into the airbox, and the bottom of the carb where you're going to want to use a one-way valve, but we'll show all that here in a second. For the crankcase snorkel, which is going to be your easiest, you're going to take a piece of, I believe that's going to be 5/8 breather hose. You can actually use the stock piece on the machine. You're going to put a hose clamp down there at the bottom and you're going to run that up into your airbox. So depending on the machine, you may be able to just drill a hole, stuff that in, silicone around it, and that'll meet what you'd like to do. Or you can put a barb fitting, which is what I did when I put in my stock airbox. Or if you have the aftermarket Chaos Off-Road airbox, it has metal fittings that stick out on it, so you can just slide it on and use a hose clamp. That's the easiest way. So now we'll go to the bottom of the carburetor. All right, the bottom of the carburetor is a piece of the puzzle that's commonly overlooked. A lot of guys will tell you to put nails in these, but don't do that unless you remember to remove the nail as soon as you're out of the water. I like to use these one-way valves. Just throw 2 of them in there and she'll be good to go. So now it's time to start installing the actual snorkel. So on the Chaos Off-Road airbox, I have an 1.5" outlet welded onto it. In your stock airbox, you're gonna have a 1.25" gasket. That's where you're gonna use that 1.5" to 1.25" adapter I spoke about a minute or so ago. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your spa hose, and if you're using the adapter, you're gonna grease the OD of the adapter, but because this slides right on, I'm gonna grease the ID. You don't have to go crazy. You just have to have enough in there that it's gonna create a seal in case that the airbox doesn't, or well, in case just the hose clamp doesn't get tight enough. So we'll slide that on here. Oh, losing you here. There. Right down and on there. Let's tighten our hose clamp up. Also, side note while we're back here, on a stock box they normally seal pretty good, but if you're paranoid, pull this boot out and put a little bit of silicone or a little bit of grease right around there, and that'll mediate any potential leak through that. A lot of guys say you don't have to do it. Some guys swear by doing it. whatever your personal preference is. So now that we've got the PVC routed up and through the cavity by the engine, first thing you're gonna do is you're going to grease up either side of the coupler just to make sure we're gonna get a good seal. Slide the coupler a couple ribs on to the flexi hose, and you're gonna tighten it down. Do not tighten this extremely tight because the flexi hose will bend. We're just trying to create a watertight seal here. So just good and snug. And you can actually, if we take our light here, we can look down inside here and see that we are not in any place crushing down the hose. Therefore, we have a good watertight seal. All right, so now we're going to talk about routing of the snorkel tube through the front suspension. My preferred method is to come inside the shock and up through the middle and kick it right up by the handlebars. But that does mean you have to relocate your CDI. I just zip tie it to this bar on the other side here. That works for me. And now we'll hop up top and we'll connect that PVC in. So this is gonna be the hard part to show you because you kind of can't see, but you're gonna be looking right here and I'm gonna slide that coupler up onto the bottom of this piece of PVC. It fought me a little bit, but now we have that connected. You can see right there that clamp is on that piece of PVC. And now all you have to do, throw your 90 up on the top, and the main part of the snorkel is completed. Now it's time to figure out how we're gonna route this around the bottom side. So you can't leave it like this. Actually, funny story, the reason we're here is because I left it laying like that and it rubbed on the jug and it burnt the snorkel hose. We have to figure out how to hold this out to the side. So if your machine has the stock fender bracket still in it, that's easy. You're just gonna zip tie on the back side of these fenders to your stock fender bracket and that'll hold that out and away. Or you can do something like drill through the plastics here. I'm gonna drill through the plastics, but I'm gonna do it on the back side where you cannot see it. I'm gonna drill through right by that bolt hole and I'll zip tie it there. So it's good and out of the way and it won't rub on the jug. Snorkeling the vent lines on the 300 is normally the easiest part. So all your stock vent lines are gonna come up and run through these clips. All you're gonna have to do is either A, buy new line and run all new line, which is what I did, so that I know mine is snorkeled correctly, or airtight, I should say, or you can buy just barb fittings and add line. And I like to run them right up the side of the snorkel. A lot of guys will spin them and do all sorts of goofy things. I just kind of ran them up the side here and cut them off at the top. You are gonna wanna make sure, my zip tie moved here, that these point down so they don't get water in them. Another thing, when you're riding, you gotta be careful because this does kick out towards you. This bike's a mud bike, so that doesn't matter that much. Because I'm not riding this down trails and I'm not gonna smack my teeth off it. Let's get to the air box and how to seal that up properly. So sealing up your air box is actually pretty easy. Don't do what a lot of guys do and cover it with silicone. I did that before. It's not a great idea. Just creates a mess and you can't get the thing apart to service it. And what you're gonna wanna use, there's a guy on the Honda 300 Club that he sells a thick gasket that works good. Or take your stock gasket and you guessed it, put down some grease along all parts of the gasket. And then you're just gonna spread it in. Same thing goes for this Chaos box. I mean, it has a rubber seal. Do you need grease? No, but it's good, easy insurance, and it will make sure that you don't have any issues. So let me get this greased up and get the lid back. There. Now you can assemble the rest of your ATV. So that is the easiest way to snorkel your Honda 300. If you like what you've seen, please hit subscribe. If you have any constructive criticism, put it down in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Mudlet Creek Garage.